One of the best things about Starfield is that the game isn't even out yet, but we already have a lot of secret references, Easter eggs, and hidden details to talk about that the developers have snuck into several trailers and showcases so far. So I'm going to walk you through some of the best ones that you may have missed, and let's start with some terrific console buttons located in the cockpit of our spaceship, with the first one being Rage Quit, which I think would be the perfect choice if you ever want to scuttle your ship in space or decide to eject yourself after your trading ship gets boarded by pirates for the third time in a row, with the next button being Capcom, which could be a reference to the Japanese studio responsible for the Resident Evil series amongst others, but I reckon it's a NASA reference used by the astronauts to speak to mission control, as Capcom was an abbreviation for Capsule Communicator, who was the person who spoke to the astronauts from Earth, which is a really cool detail. We also have the RNG button here, which is a nice nod to the random number generator mechanics in video games, where you kind of roll the dice essentially and see what number or loot item you get. So perhaps if we press this button in our ship, it's going to blow up, or we'll get an extra boost of speed from the engines. And by the way, I highly doubt we'll be able to actually press these buttons in-game via our controllers or keyboard, but it would make my day if our character in-game proactively presses one of these buttons if we continue to play poorly in a space dogfight. But whilst we're on the topic of NASA, let's go over some more references showcased so far, and I want to bring your attention to the story trailer clip here, where our character touches the mysterious artifact and subsequently experiences some kind of vision, including a quick few frames of this derelict launch pad that does share some similarities to the Kennedy Space Center, with the text on the bottom of the launch pad, if I just pause and zoom in here, resembling that NASA logo. There's also a model of the Apollo capsule shown here in the Starfield Direct recent presentation, which was the capsule used during the first landing on the moon in 1969 by Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. We also get another potential faded NASA logo on this poster, which frames a picture of what looks to be the International Space Station that seems to be hanging in an old space museum, with the United States space capsule in the background, which is another really cool detail. And it doesn't stop there, because in this clip, our protagonist walks past a robot that resembles the Mars exploration rover called Opportunity that lost contact with NASA in 2018 due to a Martian dust storm. And Starfield takes place in 2310, and I do wonder if we'll find any secrets in this rover 300 years later in game. But that's not all the references the developers have popped in the reveal so far, because it looks like they've really done their research and homework on humanity's famous explorers, with portraits hanging in the constellation chambers, with this first one on the wall here looking like Yuri Gagarin, who became the first man to venture into space in 1961, followed by another portrait here of Valentina Tereshkova, who also became the first woman to enter space in 1963. But just in front of these portraits, there does seem to be a model of the spaceship Vostok, which was the vessel that both of these astronauts used to venture into space whilst part of the Soviet Union. Now, in the most recent deep dive video, we also picked up a couple more portrait teasers from the team, with this painting looking like the Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan, who is best known for leading the Spanish expedition in 1519 across the Atlantic Ocean to Asia, being the first European to do so. But I think my favourite painting so far is a clear portrait in homage of Sir Edmund Hillary, who alongside Tenzing Norgay became the first climbers to reach the top of Mount Everest. Now, whilst we're on my favourites, there's a great Breaking Bad reference spotted by Nika here, as this clip looks like a nice homage to the TV series, with these fluorescent yellow meth cooking suits being used by the NPCs to cook the substance called Aurora, that is a manufactured drug that, according to Bethesda, has immense psychedelic properties that are found in the native fishes on the planet of Neon. Now, Neon is a handcrafted aquatic planet that we'll be able to visit ourselves in game, with another nice dev secret dropped into this frame, which if I just pause and zoom in for you, you may just be able to make out this poster of a local DJ called Boreal US, which was spotted by YouTuber Starfield Signal. And that's a great reference, because Boreal US could be a nice neon reference to the Aurora Borealis, otherwise known as the Northern Lights, which is what this city's all about, really. Cooking drugs from psychedelic fish whilst you wear a Heisenberg suit. And I'll be honest with you, I'm totally here for it. Now, if you are enjoying the video so far, please do leave a very swift like down below. I appreciate it a lot and it helps support me on YouTube. And good news, by the way, I am running a Starfield game giveaway. You just need to be a subscriber of the channel to enter, and I'll pop the link in the pinned comments. So very best of luck to you. Now, what I'm also here for is some Elder Scrolls and Fallout references in Starfield, and I think we're going to be getting plenty of them because the city of New Atlantis in this game is where we'll be spending a lot of our time, as it's home to the Constellation faction that we're a part of, and as it happens was founded in the same year as the events of the first Fallout game, which begins in 2161, which I don't think is a coincidence, and I can definitely foresee a crossover happening here with some UFO and Zetan references in Starfield. That said, there's quite a few nods to the Elder Scrolls here as well, where there's a small engraving on the side of the console panel in the spaceship, which looks to be similar to the High Rock and Hammerfall locations that are suspected to be appearing in the upcoming Elder Scrolls 6 game, thanks to a cryptic tweet posted by the official Elder Scrolls Twitter account. And big credit to her, what the f Blur, on Reddit for this insane find, and very nice username, by the way. We also have what looks like the Nirnroot plant returning here from Elder Scrolls Oblivion, as well as Skyrim and Fallout 4, which can be used to make a variety of potions. So it's a no-brainer to see it reprise itself here again in Starfield. Now, I do want to bring your attention to a few bits of great literature here. The first book in this clip is titled Sailing Alone Around the World, which was written by Captain Joshua Slocum, who was the first person to sail single-handedly around the world. And while we're on the topic of ship exploring, right in front of Magellan's portrait we spoke about earlier, this ship here does resemble the HMS Beagle, which was the vessel that carried Charles Darwin around the world, and I really do hope we can put this model in our own spaceship. I think that would be really great on the customization front. There's also a ship in the background of this artifact scene here, which I'll just pause again and zoom in for you, which looks like the RV Calypso, which was a former British Royal Navy minesweeper ship converted into a research vessel for Jacques Cousteau, who co-invented the first aqualung or scuba outfit, which is another awesome detail from the developers, which you could say the same actually about this book by the astronomer Camille Flammarion called Omega, The Last Days of the World, which is a science fiction novel about how a comet collided with the Earth, which could be some nice foreshadowing on why humanity left Earth in this game, but we're just going to have to wait and see. But I'll tell you what's great, and it's the subtle naming of all the planets and systems in Starfield by the developer team, as they all seem to be a nice nod to real-life people associated with space or exploration. The first planet we can see here in the Alpha Centauri system is called Gagarin, named after Yuri Gagarin, the first man in space we spoke about earlier, with Jemison being another Earth-like planet that we'll be able to visit in-game, named after Mae Jemison, who was an engineer and NASA astronaut who flew 8 days in space in 1992. We also have this planet called Chowla, which is an icy moon that gets its name from Kalpana Chowla, another NASA astronaut who was one of the 7 crew members that unfortunately died in the Space Shuttle Columbia disaster in 2003, so a nice nod to her in this game. That said, this Chowla moon orbits Olivus, which is another large ring planet that could take its namesake from John D. Olivus, who flew on 2 space missions in 2007 and 2009, as well as completing a few spacewalks on the International Space Station, which I'm really hoping we're going to be able to do in this game, thanks to a quick shot from the gameplay reveal, as you can see here, so fingers crossed. Now, speaking of reveals, there were a few sneaky details again shown to us in the most recent Starfield Direct preview that do make a lot of sense when they're kind of threaded together, and that's this commercial skill, denoting that we'll be able to run our own business, which may lend itself to suggest that we'll be able to make money or credits a lot easier just by having this skill, as Todd did mention in a recent Funny Games podcast that we will be able to set up multiple outposts on several different planets and have our own ships transfer different types of trade resources back and forth between them, which may also cause us a lot of problems, as there is also a very clear bounty system in this game, as you can see from this clip here, if I just zoom in again, and that's specifically in the United Colony system, where this says, to me, we are clearly wanted by this specific faction for some sort of a grievance which could impact our trade routes and commercial income. So if we want to sneak some contraband or continue trading in a certain city while we have a bounty on our head, we may want to upgrade upgrade our shielded capacity stats right under the cargo capacity menu here, which I reckon is how we're going to be able to stay off the grid and keep illegal goods hidden from the scanning authorities, so we can make a tidy commercial profit and deposit our money in this gal bank, which I also think may be our galactic banking account system here in game. Now, there's some other cool details here which I think you may like, such as this small text highlight in the customization screen, which states that we can change the look of our character by visiting a genetic facility in game, which is good news, as this stops me spending a solid 5 hours in the character creation menu before I start the game. But while we're in this menu, there's a couple of familiar faces here, such as Shirley Curry, who is also known as the Skyrim Grandma, who gained a lot of popularity for playing and posting her Skyrim gameplay on YouTube. Now, this model could be a bit of a stretch, to be fair, but we do get another clip within that Starfield Direct preview of the protagonist's grandma in her own ship inviting us over to dinner in her spaceship. So I do think it is intentional here. Now, another awesome spot in this character menu from Dantix on YouTube, who suggested that this face profile could be Chris Hadfield, who is a Canadian astronaut, and I couldn't agree more with him. I think that is a great spot. Now, the developers and engineers aren't just stopping there with in-game Easter eggs, but there's a cool few things that they've added into their new Starfield controller and headset they recently announced and released, with Rob's Unwraps on YouTube finding a sound Easter egg when you boot up the headset itself. So listen to this. Which is very interesting indeed. And once you connect your Starfield controller to your Xbox, it'll also change your background to a Starfield dynamic background, which if you then change it to something else, it will disappear. So you can only get it back by resyncing your controller completely with the console. So awesome finds by Rob here, and I've popped his video down below. But while we're on the topic of sound, Todd Howard, the game director, was asked by the Kinda Funny Games podcast recently if there was any sort of in-game radio station, and even though he didn't fully confirm that there is, he did tease that there is a similar type of mechanic which kind of works like radio, but only in one specific place. And I reckon it's probably on New Atlantis, as we see the Settled Systems news network here, which is pretty much a radio station in my eyes, which would be a great in-game mechanic to have, in my opinion. Now, if you're hungry for more Starfield breakdown videos like this, do click on the video on your screen right now, and do consider subscribing if you're new here. I'll be covering Starfield from start to finish, including guides, tips and tricks, news, updates. It's all going to be here, and it would be great to have you along for the ride. Big thanks to Nika, my co-content creator, for helping me make this video. It's genuinely not possible without her. Cheers for stopping by, and as usual, coffee is on me.